have a look and see who's in my green room tonight. First up, one of our finest young film and stage actors, a genuine Hollywood superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, it's James McAvoy. Hello, James. Along with him, we have the reigning queen of comedy, the fabulous Sarah Millican, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Sarah. Also on the show, we have one of the country's best-loved TV presenters. It is the Silver Fox himself, Mr. Philip Schofield. And he'll be chatting this evening, and he will be singing for us a real-life musical legend, the one and only Mr. Barry Manilow. That's the show. Now, before we get to that, I have an incredibly important announcement to make. If you are a fan of chocolate, and Sarah, I'm thinking of you right now.
Yes.
Make sure you're sitting down. If you're near a loved one, you might want to hug them close because the world is running out of chocolate. Something's gone wrong with the cocoa harvest. We are finally facing the apocalypse. That's terrible news, though, because chocolate is one of my 5 a day. And rationing could start any moment now. You could go out to get a Kit Kat, come home with just a kit. Quality Street is on its way to becoming Benefit Street. Could get so awful, people wouldn't get a chocolate orange this Christmas. They'd have to make do with an actual orange. The only silver lining is that I'll never again have to say the words Ferrero Rocher. So, it's Barry, I bet you love a bit of chocolate. Sarah, I know you must be feeling down, but I've got something for you. I'm going to give you a twirl, a whisper, and a boost.
Now?
Yeah.
Go on, then.
You're amazing. There you go. Now, the Christmas season is almost here. Of course, you know what that means? It's Christmas jumper time. And I was a bit excited when I heard this, because you can now get the world's first multi-denominational Yuletide jumper, OK? Because Christmas isn't just a Christian thing anymore. Of course, we all celebrate it, or lots of us do. And this jumper they brought out, has all the different symbols. So no one needs to feel left out. Have a look at this. It's got, on there you will find Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, and their little kind of neutron things that represent science, if you want a scientific Christmas. OK? It's perfect. The only problem is, what day do you open it on? No one knows. There is a certain type of man who certainly can wear a Christmas jumper. It's hard to pull off. This kind of man, for example. Oh.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Well, we had to look quite hard for some pictures, but let's have a look. Here's one I Philip. There you go. Or this one. We could have shown this one. Okay. Or this one. Or this one. That's the best one, Philip.
Yeah.
Even you are uncomfortable in that. Look at that.
Yeah, only marginally.
Okay. But they're not my favourite Christmas jumpers. Take a look. This is, I think, the best of the Christmas crackers. Look at this one. Hello, ladies. Look at that. Philip's looking at that thinking, blimey, where can I get one? And this is what happens if you don't follow the knitting instructions. You wind up with this one. So, let's get my first guest out, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? I'm always thrilled when he's on the show. He's been a mainstay of British TV for an incredible 30 years. And he has dealt with every subject under the sun, from the man who has 100 orgasms a day to does my bum look big in this, from the woman with the world's largest boobs to does penis size matter, from sex with silicone to sex with aliens. He's done it all. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Philip Schofield. So, Philip, this is one of the things I love about watching you on This Morning, are those kind of subject matters. I know you do a lot of... They do serious stuff as well, but there's almost always one of those little gems hidden away, isn't there?
Yep.
What have been your favourites of those kind of the weird stories?
Well, last week we did a live vasectomy on the show. We've done...
When you say we... Who held the scissors?
I was scrubbed up and ready to go. I reckon I could do it now, you know. We've done 2 on the show, and I think I could do it. The first guy we had on, who had a vasectomy, actually, I had to jump on a motorbike and go to a clinic down the road. And we were live back to This Morning, and the guy was all fully prepped up, and he's got his crackers out, and they're all on the telly. And the guy, the surgeon started, and the bloke went, oh, and he said, what? He said, right, no, you can feel that. He said, you feel that live on the telly? You feel that? Yeah, I can feel that. OK, well, I'll put a little bit more in. Ooh. And he just put a little bit more in. Of course, that's not going to work. It's not that fast. No. And I said, well, I'm thinking we've got 7 minutes.
Hold it, so you're rushing this because you're live on TV?
We're live on the telly. We haven't got time for the anaesthetic to take place. So we did it. We did it. He was semi-anaesthetised. Oh. And his face, I didn't realise, but there's a puff of smoke. Did you know that?
Oh, what's happened there then?
It was like a laser.
Oh.
It was like a laser beam.
And so you're sitting there just sort of giving it a running commentary?
Well, your eyes start running. My eyes were running on his behalf.
Wow.
But yeah, and then it does take you by surprise when you're looking at another guy's bollocks and they're smoking.
Because when you look at your own, they're smoking, you know you're moving too fast, don't you? Well, what about the lady who said that an alien had been visiting her and having sex with her, or was it a ghost?
Yeah, no, it was aliens. I had sex with an alien. I said to the team, actually, because they started, in case people were in the gym or they had the sound turned down on the telly, they were putting up what was going on the show. But they were doing it on all the different shots. And I looked after we'd done this interview with the woman, I looked on my phone, on my Twitter feed, and there were hundreds of retweets of this picture of me looking like that, with the strap underneath saying, I have sex with aliens.
OK, now, let me ask you about Holly Willoughby. There's a great chemistry between you and Holly, of course. She's been off, she's had another baby. When's she coming back on?
I'm not quite sure, because the whole thing was that she's got a big family now, she wanted to have some family time, so it's a little bit sort of open-ended.
So you don't know, but she's coming back, though, is she?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because, of course, you have form working with sidekicks, you know, you had Fern before that, but way back when, and those of a certain age will remember, you didn't for a while think of Philip Schofield without thinking of his co-host.
Ah.
Of course.
I have a restraining order out against him.
But you never used to operate.
No.
Him?
No. It was always the producer that used to.
So he used to be a producer under the desk?
Yeah. And each producer that used to do it, their personality seemed to come out in the gopher. So we had one that was a very sort of dramatic lady, and the gopher suddenly got very camp and very big. And then there was a guy that was very mischievous, and so it became, you know, sort of very nippy. So, you're very good, actually. Yeah. You are very good. It's an exclusive club.
Yeah, this is the only thing I can do, though. But it's kind of odd, because when you put them on, you kind of do, when you look at it, then you kind of, when you're talking, you feel like you're being rude, not looking over this way. So it becomes like there's someone there watching.
Well, it becomes very real. We were doing a cookery item on Going Live on a Saturday show that I used to do a long time ago, and the gopher got too close to the gas hob. And all the paper around it caught fire, and there was a big fire around the gopher. And the guy who was operating it was watching a monitor underneath and laughing, and thinking, God, this looks great, and suddenly realised, shit, my hand's in there.
Well, I'll put him away then.
Good.
Now, Philip's on TV a lot. Let's be honest, he's on, some would say too much. He's on a lot, OK? A lot of shows, but you're about to do even more for a very good reason. Tell me about the Tech Santa you're doing. It's not a record you're going to break, but it's a big challenge, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a personal record for me. And on Monday, from 11 o'clock in the morning, right the way through until Tuesday, at 11 o'clock in the morning, I will be live on TV with no hiding place, no breaks. If there are breaks, during the breaks, the break will be streamed, so you will be able to... It's a full 24 hours on TV.
So that we'll see you the whole 24 hours?
Yeah.
So it won't be like a commercial break and you run off?
Nope.
What about when, inevitably...
I know. We had a 2020-minute interview about that the other day.
Well, what are you going to do?
We sat down, there was a big meeting, and you know, people in telly are sort of terribly courteous and all very, very nice. And eventually someone just had to say, listen, what do we do when you want to pee? And so obviously you have to think when that is, you know, possible to do. We'll put a little slide up. You're not, you know, I won't for a minute and 40 because I've timed it. I'm pretty quick, so long as the loo's nearby.
It takes me that long to get it out. Never mind.
Well, you're a lucky man.
I'll come on this morning and show you.
I'm hoping. I mean, one of the biggest concerns. Obviously, I'm a bit like a cat. I don't like talking about, you know, my
What do you mean
toilet
you're a bit
stuff.
like a cat?
I don't talk about toilet stuff. If I
Cats
go,
can't talk about anything.
if I go to the loo, nobody knows.
Okay.
I'm quite discreet.
You go in, you use the tray, you cover it up, and you're out again.
Scratch it out, and then I go.
Yeah.
Sarah Millican was on this morning, the other day, and because the other thing that you've got to worry about is trumping. And Sarah has these brilliant pills. And am I right in saying that you thought you would use these for audiences in close proximity?
Yes, that's correct.
So these are pills that stop you from farting?
Yeah, they help.
Have you actually used them? Because you're backing off a little bit now, because you said to me it was a really good idea.
I have used them, sometimes, like, you know, days in a row. If I've got an audience that are going to be close by, I don't want my heckle to be, is that you? So, yeah, I use them.
And what do? You take them or you just ram them up the back and block it? What do you do? I think what we're talking about here is a cork, is what we're actually talking about. I'm amazed how good you look. Philip, for his age, is in incredible shape. How old are you now? You're 52? 52.
Oh, shut up.
52. You're 52 years old.
I hate it.
But you look so good, I would have thought you'd be comfortable about the ageing thing, because it's being kind to you.
Oh, no. There's nothing hurts me more than the fact that I'm getting older. I hate it. Actually, really do.
So what happens at birthday? If someone gives you a card and says, well done, you're 52 in big letters.
No, don't. If anyone sends me... Steph opens them up, and if there's a number on it, I don't see it.
Wow.
I can't do it. I have a major problem with it.
We could do our thing with you on This Morning, couldn't we? Coming up, the man who can't bear to see his age written down. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in saying thank you for being here to Mr. Philip Schofield. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, Philip's going to stick around. Still to come on the show, the very funny Serie Millican, Mr. James McAvoy and Barry Manilow will be out, not just chatting, performing live, so don't go away. Welcome back, Mr. Philip Schofield, still here. But let's get my next guest out. In a few short years, she's gone from being the best British newcomer to the UK's biggest-selling female comic of all time. Will you please welcome Serie Millican? Lovely to see you again.
See you later. Hello. Thank you.
Lovely to see you, sir. So,
Hello.
I'm right in thinking you genuinely are a long-time fan of Philip, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you be? But yeah, I grew up with Philip on the telly. And I even had, like a rule, because my dad's called Philip as well. And I remembered how to spell yours and how to spell his by saying 2 for Schofield, 1 for Dad. Because there's only 1 L in my dad's name.
So how many times were you writing the other Philip's name down?
Every now and again. Mostly the surname with mine. No. I sent you a birthday card one year. When you were on the radio? Was it Radio 2 you were on, or Radio 1?
Radio 1.
Radio 1.
Yeah.
So how old would you have been then?
When were you on the radio?
That would have been about 90, 91, 92.
No, that's not right.
I think you might know.
I was 17.
We were just to say how sweet a little 9-year-old, no, 17-year-old. Dear Philip, marry me. I'm getting desperate.
Well, I wrote you a card, and I thought it was really funny in the card.
Yeah.
And when you read it out, and I was thrilled. But you said, remember, everyone, when you're sending a card in, you don't have to try and be funny. I was crushed.
I wasn't saying that to you.
No.
It was probably because you were the funny one and everyone else was rubbish.
No,
That's
so
right,
then I decided
that's
to be a comedian to prove you wrong. You started it off.
And now, we
OK,
text
there
each
we
other.
have a
We do
picture
text.
of...
Oh, this is...
That is a genuine photograph. A genuine photograph of Sarah. She was probably 30 then. We're not sure... How old do you think you were?
I must have been about 9 or 10. Look at the perm on it.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Oh, wow. So that was a perm. You actually did your hair like that? Sort of
deliberately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Wow.
My
That's
mum was a hairdresser, so we used to do it at home.
That's a lot of Schofield memorabilia there.
It's a lot of stuff. I was very keen on Athena. Do you remember Athena?
Yeah, oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, very keen on Athena.
Yeah. Who knew there was that much Schofield sort of merchandise available?
But then I moved from then, after... Sorry, I did move on, sorry. But I came back, it's fine. I moved on to sort of black and white pictures of men in their pants.
Yes, well, so... That,
and my mum used to sometimes buy me one of those, like, if I'd done well at college or something. She'd be like, oh, I got you another knob pick.
Sorry, it wasn't the one of the man with the washing machine holding the baby, looking sweet?
Oh, no, I don't do the baby ones.
You just wanted men's bodies?
Yeah, you could cut the baby out and just have him just hold... And then I could, like, you know,
pretend
it was me, yeah.
We text each other now, and I think that's a lovely sort of final thing to that story of the bedroom
This is
walls
not
and
final.
stuff. No.
This is just part of my plan.
This is like Misery. You're going to wake up tied to a bed and she's got a hammer and she's going, yeah.
No,
Where's it go for now, Philip?
It actually happened to me that I got a phone call one morning when I was at this morning, and they said, "There's a phone call. Would you take this?" Yeah, hello. Hello, Mr. Schofield. I'm so sorry to bother you at work. We just wondered whether or not you were about ready now to pay for the venue and the flowers and the caterers. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't understand. And a fan who is a little obsessed, was a little obsessed, may still be a little obsessed, had booked our entire wedding. The whole thing.
Wow.
And then left me with the bloody bill.
Yeah. Well, let's talk... You've moved house recently, haven't you?
Yeah, we have I wanted to... I was a bit of a workaholic, I think, and I wanted to kind of balance it out a little bit and have a bit more of
You've been gigging really solidly for years now, haven't you?
Yeah, about 6 or 7 years, just non-stop, really. So I wanted to... I made a list of things I wanted to do to try and have a better work-life balance, and I got cats, and I got married, and... I shouldn't be in that order, should I? I got married, and learned to cook, because I've never been very good at cooking. Brilliant at eating, not very good at cooking.
So what's your signature dish now? How are you getting on with the cooking?
It's all right. I'm still quite early stages because I found like 2 or 3 things that I can do and I just do them over and over again. But I did, I used to always have bother with some of that. I didn't know vocabulary and I couldn't remember the word marinate. And I was describing a recipe I tried to my friend and I said to her, you get the chicken, you put a bit of olive oil on it, you get some lemon thyme and you put it in the fridge, you cover it, put it in the fridge and leave it overnight to fester. That's not right, that's not right.
Yeah. I've never seen that written on a menu, but if I did now, I'd know what it means. Let's have a look. This is in her current DVD. It's called Homebird. This is Sarah in action.
But you know when you first move in somewhere that's new to you, you want to make a few changes, don't you, so it feels a bit more like yours. One of the things I really wanted, like my parents are both disabled and both getting on a bit in age, and I thought something that would be really good for when they come to stay would be a grab rail in the shower. I won't really notice it when I'm in the shower, but when they come to stay, that would be very useful for them. So I got a grab rail fitted in the shower. And like a month later, I had a friend round visiting and I was showing around the house, you know, biscuit room, other biscuit room. Carefully don't trip up on all the knickers and bread. We got to the bathroom and I said, oh, look, I've had a grab rail fitted in the shower. And she went like this. Ooh, saucy. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm trying to keep pensioners upright. And I told my dad because I thought he'd find it funny, and he went, nah, for that sort of business, you need 2 of them.
There you go, that's... Homebird Live, that's Sarah's newest DVD. There seems to be a running theme in your DVDs, and I think this started on the first one. There was a gentleman in the audience, and you only noticed this in the edit, and you decided to leave it in. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so what happened, we watched you watch the DVD loads when the edit goes through, and you check for little tweaks and things, and then the DVD, this is the first one, Chatterbox, was launched. And then, because I'm on Twitter, you get messages from people on Twitter, and the messages were saying, have you seen that at 34 minutes there's a man asleep in your audience? And of course we hadn't, because we would have cut him out. So I put it on, and I watched it, and I was talking to a lady in the audience, and there was a man behind, just like that, just completely spark out like that.
I think we've got the photograph. There we go, that's that there.
So what we decided to do for the second DVD was we thought we'd fake it. So for the second DVD, I said to the audience in the room that we were recording it, and I said, right, what we're going to do is if we can get a volunteer, we're going to get a lady this time to pretend to be asleep, and we'll put it in at 34 minutes, and we'll see if people will spot it. It'll be really fun. Yeah. So we did that, and it all went really well, and then in the edit, we found an actual woman asleep as well. So we had to put the lady in.
There we
that's
have the
lady.
picture of that.
And it was great because every time her boyfriend, husband, every time he laughed, his shoulders went up and her head wobbled.
You wear fluffy slippers when you're on stage.
Yes, I do.
Don't you? But you don't explain...
No, I like to just not refer to it.
Okay. And so...
Only the first 2 rows can see them anyway.
Yeah. And so what's that? That's just because you like wearing them?
Well, yeah, well, the show is called Home Burn, and it's about creating a sort of home environment, and I thought, oh, I'm just going to wear slippers on stage.
Is that just... You said it's just the first 2 rows that can see your slippers?
Yeah, pretty much.
So they're the ones that leave and say she was wearing slippers and she farts like a docker.
Absolutely, not with those tuppence.
Home Bird Live is out now. Sarah Millican's new DVD. It's very funny, as indeed, of course, she is. Sarah Millican, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Very so lovely, thank you. Still to come after the break, James McAvoy down here and Barry Manilow chatting and performing live. Don't go away. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Philip Schofield here, Sarah Millican here, but let's get my next guest out. He burst upon the scene in TV, Shameless, since then has gone on to be one of Hollywood's A-list stars, starring in movies like X-Men First Class, The Last King of Scotland, Atonement, so many more. It's the fantastic Mr. James McAvoy. How you doing, James?
After that rousing reception, I feel rather...
Yes.
I feel better about myself.
That's
so
an exciting reception. They thought Barry Manilow was coming out. It must be that. You know, well, you're a big star now. Here's the weird thing about you, though. I don't know if you know this. I think quite a lot of people don't know you're Scottish.
Yeah, it's strange, that. Eh?
Because I said you were on the show this week, and someone said, oh, where's he from? And I said, he's Scottish. And I went, I thought he was an American.
Really? Me, an American?
Yeah, but they must think you do the American accent well enough, or they've seen you in those movies.
Oh, I don't know. You know what it is? It's this weird thing where there's only 6 million Scottish people in the world, and there's 6 billion of you lot. So...
Hold it. You can't just lump us all together like that.
There's us in Scotland, and then there's everybody else.
Oh, I see.
No, so if you want to act a lot as an actor, you kind of... You've got to develop an ability to do accents and do all that. So, but it's nice, you know what I mean? Because as an actor, you want to be able to play other people and not just always be telling stories about some guy from Drumchapel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although that's lovely.
And do they understand you, though, if you are working in America with the Scottish accent? Do they... Because even my accent, which is, I think, the Queen's English, sometimes over there they don't understand me.
The one that always sticks in my mind is Robert Redford. There's a name. And Robert Redford. And he did this whole thing where he was sort of like, he wanted me to stay in character and
so he was directing you, wasn't he?
He was directing me, yeah. He was in this thing about the American Civil War in which I was playing an American. He said, so I want you to stay in character and stay in accent all the time. And I was talking to him about 4 weeks in, and I was like doing the accent and saying to him like, oh, of course, because you want me to be in touch with the character all the time. I'm doing this accent and all that kind of stuff. And he was really upfront with me and just went, no, it's just because I can't understand a fucking word you're saying. And I just beeped myself, by the way.
Yeah, that was really very good. Yeah. Let me ask Barry, though, because Barry, we have, you know, a rich array of accents here. You have Philip, of course, speaks like he was made in a laboratory to be on TV. So we've got a Scottish accent and a South Shields accent here, which is quite strong. Do you have any trouble understanding anyone here?
Why, aye.
You know what? He's been rehearsing for hours to get that word. Thank you, Barry. Like Dick Van Dyke's with us. OK, so when you're working on an accent, though, like American's not like that, how do you know you've got it right? Because a lot of people from over here, when I see movies, I think sometimes it doesn't ring true to my ears.
Yeah. I think one of the main things is not to try and get the sound right. Actually, you've got to try and make sure it's still your voice, just with a different accent, because I think what a lot of people do is they end up putting on a funny voice. So it's still got to sound like it's coming for your belly and your chest and your bum and your sort of like... But it is, it's all the cavities in your body that make the sound, isn't it? It's them that give you the resonance, so your bum is a big cavity. Anyway...
Mine is.
Yeah, that was my version of a serious answer.
So basically, so it's kind of relaxing into it and not trying too hard. Could you do a South Shields accent?
Oh, well, I don't know if it would be bang on, but it would be like in the vicinity.
That's pretty good. That was pretty good. Yeah.
Thanks very much. My mate, when I first went to drama school... Oh, I can't do this because it's just like one of those annoying actor things like...
Oh, go on, say it.
Oh, here we go. When I was first at drama school, we had to sit in front of people from different backgrounds and teach each other how to say particular things. So the first thing I ever learned outside of a Scottish accent was sitting in front of my mate Ross Waiton, who's from North Shields, I think, Ross, forgive me if I'm wrong, and he taught me to say, "I divn't know what's going on."
Divn't.
Divn't know what's going on.
Divn't know what's going on.
Going on?
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a remarkable success, this lesson.
I think he's from North Shields, who's from South Shields. They
maybe
just
that's
speak
the
very differently there.
difference. Yeah.
Do you know, it's like chalk and cheese.
Yeah. You know, the accent I thought really you nailed as well was, and it wasn't more than just the accent, but playing Professor Xavier in X-Men First Class, which is a tough one because, yeah, which is a great movie, of course. You're great in it. But it's kind of a tough one, I guess, because you're playing a role which is another actor has inhabited, but in the older version, it was Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And so do you think, OK, do you have to sound a bit like him? Did you ignore that? How did you finesse that?
Well, I thought it was really important to ignore everything that any other actor has ever done. Well, partly because you want to be able to enjoy it for yourself and all that, but also partly because what's the point in going back in time if they're just the same as they were in 2004 or whenever it was they shot those other films that were really good, honestly, but not as good as ours. And so it was really important. And also, you're setting the first one in the 60s and the next one in the 70s. You've got, like, loads of groovy dialect that you can get a hold of that you don't want to ignore. If I ever play him in the 90s or in the noughties, then I reckon I'll be mimicking him much more. But the next one's the 80s, so I'm trying to think, how can I get Harry Enfield's kind of Wonga mad character...
Loads of money.
...into...
Just go around, go, loads of mutants, loads of mutants. But I guess it must have been a nice thing to know that when you got the part that you weren't going to have to shave your hair off, because he is, of course, bald, and he is bald in the comics, but...
Well, I did actually shave my head. And then turned up and they went, no. It's the 60s, we want him to be, you know, behaired. I don't know, what do you call somebody that's got good,
I don't think behaired is the right word. Behaired?
What's behaired? Is that just somebody who's well listened to?
Hirsute?
Someone just not bald, I think, is...
They wanted me to be well, not bald.
Yeah.
And...
behaired.
Yeah, and so my hair was about that long when I turned up, because I got the news after I shaved it, don't shave your head, and I was like, all right, cheers. And I turned up with that much hair, so they put in the hair extensions.
So the next one, you said it's set in the 80s. The next one's going to be called X-Men Apocalypse. That's right. You haven't started filming that yet, I guess. We
start that in April. I do this play first, which I finish in April, and then we go straight on the day after I finish the play.
Okay. And in that, is he now going to be unhaired?
I don't know, actually. I think that he possibly will be. He probably should be.
But how do you look bald? Do you look good bald? Because I know people who think they're going to look bald, and then when they shave it off, they look weird bald. You know what I mean?
I think I'm going to just look like a Glaswegian Ned bald. Do you know what I mean? And Ned is a chav. A non-educated delinquent, and I think I'll probably just look like I'm pure going to chib you, Magneto. that was proper Neddy Glaswegian Barry.
OK, you mentioned the play. So you're back on stage here, and so you were last time you were on stage was Macbeth.
I was
one of the great roles any actor could have.
I thought you were going to see one of the great versions of Macbeth, but it turned into something else. Don't worry, I'll take up the mantle. It was one of the great Macbeth.
So when you were doing it, how was the Scottish accent? Did you pull that off?
You know, I'd rather just make sure it was a good performance and make it right. No, it was nice. Although I did go a bit sort of Teuchter and East Coast rather than Glasgow, so that was strange.
But I don't think of him being Glaswegian, do you? Macbeth?
No. Well, he's from. Where's he from? He's from Inverness. Yeah. So he's from
Inverness.
He's from Inverness.
Is that in the play?
Well, he says he's from Codder, and that's up near Inverness. So his football team would be Inverness Cally Thistle.
Like he would support a football team.
Well, every man's got his passions when he's done with killing people's kids. Do you know what I mean?
His football team would be whatever football team Lady Macbeth told him to support, and you know it.
Yeah.
OK, that was quite a good joke, I thought. I thought they'd get something. So, this play, The Ruling Class...
The Ruling Class.
I'm excited about this because this was a movie, I remember, but it was a play before the movie,
It was a play before a movie, then it became a movie, and then nobody ever touched it again from the 60s. And I don't know what the reason for that is, because it was loved in its day, and I think it was Oscar-nominated as well, but nobody's wanted to touch it again as a play. I think because it's really sort of... It takes a lot for the performers to pull it off. It's one of those ones that if you get it right, it is going to be an incredible piece of evening for people. There's a way to sell something. Come along and have an incredible piece of evening.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think they should put that on the poster.
Nah, what an
It's a
incredible
wonderful piece of evening.
But it's sort of, to try and describe it, I suppose it's like if you imagine Downton Abbey, right? But in the 60s, and everybody's on acid. Wow. And Hugh Bonneville comes back from mental hospital, which he thinks is a dancing academy, and he's been there for 7 years. So he's come back with a lot of moves. That's for real.
It's not really like Downton Abbey at all, is it?
No, but it is. Because it's all about posh folk. And, and then he comes back and he tells everybody that he's God, and the wheels all come off. And there's a lot of song and dance, and there's a lot of critique of the aristocracy and things like that.
That sounds like a spectacular piece of evening.
Thank you very much.
And you want to use that, you can have that. It sounds great, though, but I imagine, I would have thought, from the way you've described it there, quite a tough one to pull off, because that's a fairly way out there premise.
I always go for the tough pull-off. Come on, no. Did I mean that?
Or did Lady Macbeth make him say it? It's a good joke. I'm working that joke. You will see that joke at the Comedy Awards in a month's time.
What was the question?
I can't remember. No, it's a tough one to pull off, imagine. It sounds like it's a real a mix of weirdness.
All the best ones are tough ones to pull off. We're going to keep saying pull off until we get a silent response from pull off. So in trying to pull it off, no, the best ones are always hard to get right.
Thank you for saving us.
And honestly, I mean that. My favourite kind of theatre and my favourite kind of movies as well is where I'm watching an actor on the edge of failure and I'm watching a director take such big risks that I feel nervous for them. Because when they pull it off... I really didn't mean that one. But when they get it right, it's sort of uplifting for the audience as well, because there's a tension involved in going, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And that's when you get exciting new stuff, I think. And even though this is a play from the 60s, it feels like something that was written today.
Yeah. Well, it opens January the 16th, I think. You're just starting rehearsals now, aren't you?
We're just starting rehearsals. We open January the... like you said. Yeah. We are at the Trafalgar...
I'll be there even if you're not. It's the 16th.
It's the 16th,
yeah, I believe so. But you're quite... as I understand it, you like bike riding. I know you... Do you scoot around town, or you have your fast bike?
You used to scoot, actually,
I do. You? I scooted in today.
You used to scoot?
I love scooting.
You give good scoot?
I mean, I saw you turning up once or twice on your fast bike, and, and now you've got a son, and we're not going to talk about that too much, but I know, are you allowed to ride the bike? Do you feel that's an okay thing to do still?
When my wee boy was born, I was going to get rid of the bike, and it was actually my wife who said, don't. It's part of who you are, and it's... and you should keep it. And she's so much up for the bike. Yay, that's me.
Wow, is that you?
Yeah, it's me.
Wow,
yeah.
but you're not moving there, you're just leaning.
It's just a green screen behind me, and it's one of those ones you put 20p in.
Wow. I don't go over like that. I wouldn't risk that.
That was Ron Haslam and up at his school that taught me how to do that.
Your knee is actually touching the ground.
Yeah, getting your knee down, that's what it's called.
And you'd be doing, what, 15, 20 miles an hour there? What speed are we talking about?
I think at that point, it's not too fast. I think that's about 40, 45 miles.
Well, that's terrifying, that. But you come off of that, you're going to know it, aren't you?
Yeah, but Ron had me on the back of his, with my arms round him, with this little sort of handle that's on the fuel bit.
Yeah.
And he said to me, and he's an ex-world champion, and he said, if you get a bit scared, just squeeze me and I'll slow down. So, of course, the kind of guy that wants to be Jerry Butler in 300 in you goes like, I'm never going to do that. And,
macho, yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't, to my credit, I didn't. But he was doing a wheelie at 140 mile an hour at one point, and slamming the front wheel down at an angle, which is death to any other rider.
Wow.
And making the whole thing shake. But he did about 8 laps, and by about the 6th lap, I was going, I'm not going to squeeze him, please go into the pit lane, and then go round and do the 7th. And I was like, I don't think I've physically got the strength to hold on to this bike much longer. And he came in just in time, otherwise I would have squeezed him.
And did the movie people know that you did that?
I wasn't making any kind of movie at the time.
No,
so
but what about the ones that you would be making a movie for?
He's not like a slave. He can do stuff in between on his own free will. They don't own him.
If they've got, like X-Men, a massive, great set of movies, and they depend on you, and they knew that you were doing a wheelie at 140 miles an hour, barely holding on.
Yeah. Just, can we cut that bit out?
Yeah, we
So that Fox Studios don't take my house away from me.
Look, it's lovely to see you again.
Thank
I love
you.
having you on the show. The play sounds great. You must. I can sense that you are fired up about it.
I really am. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be something that is very unexpected. It's going to be challenging and funny as all get out.
Yeah. It's 16th of January. It's called The Ruling Class. It's going to be great. James
Thanks,
McAvoy,
Jonathan.
ladies and gentlemen. James is sticking around as well. After the break, music and chat from Barry Manilow. Stick around. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out. You know who he is, a musical superstar. He has sold, get this is remarkable, over 80 million albums worldwide. To 3 very devoted fans. Please welcome the fabulous Barry Manilow. Sir. You've met Philip, you've met Sarah, you've met James, I think.
You're all brilliant, brilliant.
Wow. Great to have you here back in
Thank
the UK. You know you have a huge fan base here. You must have some nice memories of playing here over the years, I imagine.
Oh, yeah, I do. You know, I got here in 1978. They booked me for 2 nights at the Palladium, and I didn't think anybody would show. And we wound up spending 2 weeks at the London Palladium. That's the big memory for me, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're lucky that you're here this evening. You will be performing for us this evening,
yes,
which is a treat.
Yes.
But the big news, if I understand correctly, is that the tour that you're just about to embark on, that we'll go through next summer, this is going to be your last tour.
Yes, yeah. Well, I say that now, you know. But, you know, it's just, I'm done packing. So, you know, I don't know. I'm not saying how long this tour will go.
So this could go on for years.
It could go on for years. But as of now, I said, please, I got to stop. I got to have my life back after all these years. So I'm calling it the last tour.
And what do you do when you say have your life back? What is your life when you're not touring, when you're not performing?
You know, during the last tour, which lasted for a while, and then I took time off, my goal was just to know when Judge Judy was on. I had lost my life on the road. I just wanted to get my life back, play with the dogs, know when the weather changes, you know.
How many dogs have you got?
I got 2.
2 dogs.
Are you a cat man or a dog man?
I'm a dog man and a cat man.
Are you a cat man or a dog man? Dog man. Cat. Yeah, the girls love cats.
Do you have any pets, Philip?
Yeah, no, there are lots of dogs in the family. Unnecessary.
Don't encourage that. Wait till he gets home and Lady Macbeth gets hold of him, eh? So listen, Barry has just brought out his 29th studio album.
Right.
It's a very different kind of album for you. You can explain what's going on here. It's called Dream Duet. My Dream Duets.
My Dream Duets, and that's what it is. My Dream Duets. Everybody's making duets albums, and some of them are pretty good, and I thought, how can I make my duet album any different than everybody else's? So I made a list of people that I would have loved to have sung with. And when I looked at it, they were all dead. It could be called my dead duets. I didn't want to do that. But it seemed like an impossible thing to do, because we were stuck with old records, tinny records, scratchy records. But music technology has gone so far. I was able to reorchestrate and rearrange all these songs and make them into duets.
Some of the people there you must have met and known while they were alive. Did you ever work or meet Dusty Springfield? Could you sing with her on this?
Yes, she was really one talented person. Really gone too soon. Some of these people were just... It was really emotional when I sang with Whitney. Whitney was in her perfect voice on this record. And really, I kept running for the Kleenex because really, it's such a tragedy. So young.
And did you know Whitney fairly well?
I did. Good girl.
So towards the end, when her life was... Did you see that? I mean, because people must have tried to intervene, I guess.
Yeah, everybody did. But, you know, when you get to that stage, I think logic doesn't help anybody when she was there. I know Clive, my friend Clive Davis, did everything he could, wrote her letters, called her.
But
didn't help.
It's just such a terrible waste, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, so many of them were young. You know, that's why it was so emotional for me, because you know, when I did my duet with Barbara Streisand years ago, she was in a vocal booth around the corner there, and I put my headset on, and Whitney could have been around the corner too, and it was very live. Singing with Sammy Davis Jr., I was kind of laughing with him, and I oh my God, he's not here. What am I doing? You know? But it was really alive. It was so emotional.
Were you drinking at the time?
Was I drinking? No, I wasn't.
Let me ask you a question. Please don't think I'm being rude here or not, but there's speculation in the papers and online at the moment about the way you look right now. And people are saying, well, has he had a lot of work done? What's going on
Jonathan, look at me. I look like don't I look like my age?
Well,
I mean, what do you want?
You're ageing well. I tell you, the only person who's aging as well as you is old Schofield down there.
Really? This is what I look like. I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Does it get tiresome, though, reading that stuff about yourself, reading the speculation?
It's infuriating knowing that this is what this is me at 70.
That is
I swear.
the only answer that I will accept. You know, let me ask you about the Vegas years, because how long did you have that residency in Vegas for?
I did 7 years in Vegas, and there were 7 great years. I did 5 at the Hilton and 2 at the Paris. And when they offered it to me, I thought, oh no, Vegas. I don't know. I had nice times, one or two shows that I did in Vegas. But what's going to happen if I actually stay there in residence? It was 5 great years. We were able to change things around night after night. Plus, I live in Palm Springs, so we could fly there every night. I was able to be home most of the week and then fly to these great audiences. It was a great, great experience.
Would you do it again? Because I get the feeling one of the things about the tour that maybe is exhausting for you is the travelling, is the packing, is the moving to new cities. Was there, you know, they'll build you a place to live there if you want, won't they? They did that for Celine Dion.
If I got that phone call, I would be hard to turn it down. I loved it so much.
Well, Sarah, you've been to Vegas as well, I believe.
Yeah, I went to Vegas a long time ago. I was surprised by the hotels. You know, they're really fancy, but the bed had 3 pillows at the top. And I knew who, like, 2 were for. But I didn't know who the 3rd one was for. And there was a sign that said that you were allowed to bring a company back to the hotel, but you couldn't...
What hotel were you staying at?
It was clearly a classy one, Harry. But you couldn't bring food into the room. So you could bring... So the only way you could get a pizza in is if a prostitute brought it in for you.
Let me ask about your fan base, because I was talking earlier, as we know, Sarah stalked Philip for many years and now has fans on. You've had some fairly devoted admirers, haven't you?
Many. No, I'm really very lucky. You know, especially here in Britain. They always told me that if they like you in Britain, they will like you forever.
You're a fan, aren't you, James?
Yeah, I have been for a long time. A long, long time. I've actually... one of my key moments of learning how to perform was pretending to be you. And there is actually video footage that Jonathan Ross does not have. Of me in a pair of my sister's white trousers, singing Copacabana, and it was really one of the first times I ever sort of got on stage and sort of gave it some welly as a performer. Wow. So, and it was because when I was a wee boy, it was my favourite song, and you were one of my favourite singers.
So now that you're in the business, you owe me a thank you.
I owe you 5% of everything I've ever done.
And do you do it? I mean, do you still bust it out ever?
I've busted out Copa, the story of Tony and Lola, a couple of times, quite a few times in karaoke.
So do you know all the words?
Yeah, I'd say it. Yeah.
And if I play piano for you, would you?
This could be a fairly special moment.
As long as you don't mind me not being a patch on you.
But you know what? You're very lucky, because I phoned your sister earlier and she sent her pants over. Well, I think that's too good. Do you mind playing a little bit of Copa for us? Shall we enjoy? OK, let's go over to the piano with Barry Manilow and everyone here. Let's go do this. You want a slug of water?
I want a big slug of water.
All right.
Here we go. This is going to be great. Well, it might be terrible, of course. I mean, it might be.
Either way...
How bad can it be?
If it's terrible, just, like, give me a break.
Okay. Now, I don't want to... We shouldn't detract from, basically, the vocal stylings of Mr McAvoy.
That's right.
We have some percussion instruments. Maybe we could just join in on the percussion. And you guys, this is a new dream duet.
Do you have something?
Do I have something?
Oh, here we go.
Hold it. I don't know what this is, but I think it's been on this morning and some bloke was very proud of it, wasn't he? Ah, here we go.
Let me hear that first. Okay, ready, James?
Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl with yellow feathers in her hair and a dress got down to there. She would merengue and do the cha-cha. And while she tried to be a star, Tony always tended far across the crowded floor. They worked from 8 to 4. They were young. They had each other. Who could ask for more at the Copacabana? Woo! The hottest spot north of Havana. Oh, at the Copacabana. Music and fashion were always the fashion at the Copa. They fell in love.
All right.
Barry Manilow,
Thank you so
James
much.
McAvoy, Sarah Millican, Philip Schofield. There you go, that was pretty special. Why don't you guys head over there so we can enjoy the song together. Thank you, James. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Sarah. Thanks to all my guests tonight. Next week on the show, I'll be joined by Miranda Hart, Jeremy Clarkson and Martin Freeman, and we've got music from X Factor's Ella Henderson. But now, with What a Wonderful World, accompanied by the late Louis Armstrong, it is the one and only Mr. Barry Manilow, ladies and gentlemen.
Joy to the world. Take it,
I
Louis.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself,
And I think to myself,
what a wonderful world.
oh, what a wonderful world. And I see skies of blue, clouds so white, the blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, oh, what a wonderful world. It's
The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky,
just
are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends
every single day,
saying how
everything we do,
every
time we say I love you.
I hear babies
There are
cry.
the days that
I watch them grow.
hold
They're
me
like much more
just like the stars in
than I
the
ever
night.
And I think to myself,
Their light on a
what a wonderful world.
life. Oh, shining
I think to myself, what a wonderful
oh yeah.
Barry Manilow, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Jake and